Okay, I think we are live. Okay, welcome everyone to another episode of Cannabis Marketing Live. Today we are going to be delving into AI. We have Justin Guerra here today, who I've known for quite a while because we've worked together in different points in time. And Justin has actually originally a background in economics, but found himself in the world of cannabis and marketing. Worked at MediaGel a long time ago, has run his own agency, and is now an automation expert. How do you describe yourself?
Sure, that works. Yeah, I go by a facet of things. I kind of present myself as AI consulting at the moment, but currently working on actually building a product that I'm trying to launch. But yeah, AI expert works, whatever you want to call me.
Great. Okay. So it's going to be a slightly different format this week. We are going to either bravely or foolishly do everything live. We are going to show how you can use AI tools. We will be focusing on Claude Code specifically. We'll delve into a little bit with ChatGPT as well. But um, we're going to start from scratch with nothing and start to build out marketing activation and execution and strategy, all with the help of AI. And we'll see how much we can get done in an hour. So, in the spirit of transparency, we have come prepared with nothing. We're going to start with a blank canvas here. Now, if anyone that is connected on Zoom right now wants to toss out a cannabis brand into the Q&A section, give us an idea. Otherwise, we'll pick one on our own that we know locally. Let's see here. Okay. All right. Okay, so we are going to go with Steezy, which is a pretty prominent brand here in California where we're both based. So before we get started doing that, why don't Justin, you talk a little bit about what kind of process you're about to go through?
Sure. So yeah, I think the good place to start is one, I'll introduce Claude Code. So that's what I'll be using, which is essentially like I feel like the new generation of AI. A lot of the AI started, with ChatGPT and the chat interface. And the restriction on those is that they cannot access any files on your computer. They can't access your computer. And so the CLI, Claude Code, has a CLI which actually works within your terminal. And this is something that OpenAI has released now and Google, and they're all kind of following suit, understanding that a lot of the power that can be had with AI is actually operating your computer. So yeah, gonna just be working with Claude Code. And then from there, I'll really just show you kind of how it works within operating your computer. And then from there, we'll actually just go ahead and figure out a good campaign for this. Steezy will, look at their website, find an ICP, develop a tone, and then we'll have it create a campaign for us. And then what we can do from there is actually look at some of the new visualization tools, see if we can create at least an idea for us, a starting point for some creative, not only on the ad asset, but we can also look at the website, a landing page creation as well. So pretty complete process we'll go through, but I think it'll actually be a lot easier once we dive in. People see how kind of easy it is to do stuff like this.
Yeah, I think people will be surprised at how much you can accomplish in an hour with some focus. This is going to be fun for me. I've watched a lot of these things because I spent a lot of time in Claude Code and a lot of AI tools. So I've seen many other people go through these walkthroughs, but I have not done one myself we'll see how the demo gods treat us here.
Hopefully well, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're ready, I could jump in
Yeah,
unless
go
there's
for it.
anything else you want to go over.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. All right, so I shall jump over and start sharing my screen. All right, so the first thing I wanted to show is just really how to get started, and it's actually quite simple. If you go to Anthropic, this is actually the provider of Claude Code. So if you go to their website, look up the Claude Code, you can actually just find this um, code really that they want you to write here. So you can just copy it and then go to the terminal. It's on your computer, and you can just paste it and hit enter. I've already got it installed, so it should really just say that it's either doing some updates or that it's already installed. And then one thing I wanted to do actually before showing Claude is just really for those people that have not worked within a terminal, I just wanted to show really just a bit about what this is, and some of the most common things that people will do in here is really just navigating to a folder. So right now you can see it. This is just in my main computer. And so what I want to do is actually go into a folder that we'll use for this demo, and we'll start creating files, and I'll show you how we operate in there. So I did create a file already. It's just called MGel webinar. So I'm just going to go ahead and navigate to there. So CD is the common way to navigate within there, and then you can just put in your string of information. And
And that
then what I
stands for
wanted to show,
change directory, not compact disk, right? So that's
yeah,
just a command, change over to the folder.
exactly.
And that is important because if you just start doing stuff here, it'll put it where it'll put the files wherever you are when you start Claude.
Right. And so going into that folder, it really just restricts it to building things there and not your whole system. So just wanted to show this is what that folder actually looks like. So you can see there's nothing in here. Another thing we can do in the terminal is if you type ls, it's list, and it'll just show you what's in that folder. So currently this is showing nothing, which is accurate. And then another thing I wanted to show, this will be relevant as we get into Claude Code just to understand what it's doing, but this is another command you can do, which is touch, which essentially is just writing a file. So we're going to just do a test file here. We'll say touch test one, and then you can see it gets created here. So instead of writing commands, what Claude Code does is allow us to actually just do something like that, but use English. And so to actually get Claude Code working, what we would do is just type in Claude here, and then for those of you that don't have it installed your first time, there's a login process. So you'll just want to make sure you have an account, and it guides you through the login process pretty easily. I've already got it set up, so it's taking me right to be able to typing in the terminal here. And now I can say create a file called test, let's call it 2.txt. And so now Claude should actually create a file for us here. Um, it does have these defaults where it's like, are you sure you want to do this? You can either hit yes for a one-time thing. If you go to the second one, it'll just continue it won't ask every time you create a file like this. So I'm going to say go ahead and do it for this whole session. And then you can see it created a test file here. So ultimately, just wanted to show kind of like what we're doing. And then I also wanted to show just how I currently actually work with Claude Code because I don't use the terminal. Um, I actually use the Windsurf. So I don't, a lot of people have probably heard of Cursor. Um, these are really just AI tools, like they're called integrated development environments. And so it's really just a better visualization to see the documents. So let me just go in there and then you'll actually see what it looks like and why I do it. So this one you can see I've already got open to that same folder. So when you're in an IDE, you're essentially opening that folder, and then I can work within here. And so these tools actually started out just being able to, have a chat on the side here, but since these CLIs have come out, you can actually come and open a terminal. So instead of using the terminal here, I use it within here. And I do that because you can click on these documents, and if there was stuff in here, you can actually see what's in the document. So for me, it's really just a preference of the user experience that I like. A lot of people are still working in here, and there's ways where you can see what's in those files, but I just like to be able to click. I was not, born into the tech space. I kind of worked my way here, so just found a system that works for me. And so when I'm down here, I can just type Claude and then it'll do the same thing to where I'm now able to use Claude within here. Um, and if nothing, do you have any other comments or anything you want to share? Otherwise, I can start going into just kind of working on this campaign for Steezy.
No, I mean, the only thing I would say is some of this can look daunting because there's all these buttons and knobs everywhere in this application. But the reality is that you don't need to worry about what any of that does. You can just operate right here in the Claude Code context. The stuff that Justin is showing you are some nice to have things. And also the command line sounds, seems scary. But I think if you just pay attention and watch what happens, you'll find it's pretty approachable.
Yeah. I mean, even Claude code itself sounds scary, but once you realize like it's writing the code, you just talk to it in English. It's like, oh, it's actually pretty easy.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so cool. So we'll use Steezy as our campaign. And as you can see, no files here other than these test ones we made. So what we're going to do is just start out by having Claude Code actually go research Steezy. So um, research. And then generally you want to give it as much context as you can for it to really understand the task. So research Steezy, you can see I don't write with any sort of legit way. I just kind of scribble. So research Steezy, I am creating a campaign for them. I would like you first to come up with an ICP.
ICP
We'll
is
just,
ideal customer profile.
yes, exactly. So for most marketing campaigns, I think understanding who your target audience is, isolating on one of those, you generally want to have a few that you understand. And so, finding who the actual target audience is that you want to focus on. And really, like you'll see, this actually gives a pretty comprehensive view of the types of customers. And then, um, yeah, from there, we'll actually just be able to understand who we're talking to and build the campaign focused
You'll
on.
notice that it corrected your spelling of the word steezy as well, because there's three I's.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
I think it knows more than me. Yes.
And that prompt that you gave was pretty short. I will say that in general, when you're working with AI LLMs, more context is usually helpful. But sometimes if you want to just test and see how much it can figure it out on itself or on its own, that's kind of what Justin is doing. But you could have also written several paragraphs, right? I am the marketing director at this company. I need to do a new campaign for Q4. I have, stores in these locations, or I'm focused on my brand versus my retail. You can give it as much information. Really, the more information that you give it, you usually get better results. But we're putting Cloud through its paces right now by giving it very little input to see what it will give us back.
Yeah, yeah, and then I'll actually show too. I think we'll provide more information as this goes. Like I do like to do this as a good starting point of like especially research-based something like this. Like it's like just go research it. Let's get some information as our starting point, and then we'll refine from there.
And you can see what it's doing down here if you pay
Right.
attention. Like you can see what it's doing. You do Control R, and it should give you, if you scroll,
I have
oh,
not
it's
used
not
that yet.
doing it. Sometimes it'll give you more detail, but
Does
you
it
can see
list
what
that
it's doing
out?
right now. It's doing a bunch of web searches, and it's making its best effort on the limited information that was given to it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it does quite a few searches too, right? Like it's trying to understand. I mean, you can see it's trying to look for the psychographics of these people. Who are they in general? And then it created a summary here. So let me see what that did. Okay,
It didn't save it, it just gave it to you. You could tell it to create that though as
I
a
will.
file.
Yeah.
So that's an important
So let's just
distinction.
read through it and then yeah, we'll have it created to see. And, if we want to make any enhancements, we could. But I'll just quickly read through it just so we have an understanding of what we're working with here. So. Primary ICP, lifestyle forward, cannabis consumer. It's got the age, gender for them, income, location, education. We've got the psychographics here, so coming up with values for these people, lifestyle, cannabis experience, consumption preferences, purchase behavior, key motivations. It comes up with the secondary ICP, demographics, psychographics, strategic insights for campaign. So this is where I just put a little bit of information about me wanting to build a campaign, and it's already kind of started thinking about that. So um, Another thing we could have done here is like Jake mentioned, if you wanted to really like have your own ICP structure, that's something you could do. So we could have talked with Claude Code first and just said, hey, like what is a great structure for an ICP to build campaigns off of? And then we could have used that as a reference. So maybe we'll just do both of those. So number one, I'll have it create this.
Well, yeah, you're going to save that as a file, right?
Yeah. So
So this
please.
is an important thing to understand when you're working with these systems is they have what's called a context window. We're going to have a conversation. Eventually, that context window is going to fill up. And then it's going to have to summarize everything because the LLM can only hold so much information. And so when you create something that's useful and reusable, um, like this ICP, you can tell Claude to save it as a file for later reference. And so that way, maybe it could be later today, it could be next week. You decide you want to do something else and you want that information available to that you've already synthesized and spent time and tokens on. It's available for you.
Exactly. That is the huge advantage of working within Claude Code and these CLI tools now. So you can see it just saved all of that information here. Um, shall I cover that structure one, or do we just want to keep going, get through a
Let's keep
campaign?
going because
Okay.
we can come
Yeah.
back to it if we have time. I have a feeling we're going to end up down some rabbit holes.
Right on. All right. So one thing I wanted to show too is oftentimes if you're not sure of how to instruct it, so Jake mentioned giving it context. Oftentimes if I'm new to a subject or really just unsure of what information I want to provide, what I will do is say, hey, please, or I want to create a campaign. Will you please ask me questions that will help you create it.
See, look at you being polite to
I
your
know I
AI.
always use please.
I know
I
it's funny. It's there. There's some statistics somewhere where like the amount of it's like millions of dollars worth of
know.
compute is being used when simply from people being polite because every word is a token and that ends up, some amount of usage.
Yeah, I saw Sam Altman had a quote on that, but once AI takes over, I wanted to appreciate the fact that I was
Yeah,
kind
yeah, I'm not mean to the AI because they take
of
over. I want to be I don't want to be on the naughty list.
exactly. All right, so it's asking us questions, so we can go through and answer as many as these as we want. So, what's your primary campaign goal? What do we want to do? A new product launch or
Well, let's do this because this is a good example. You can respond back and say, please, or reference the file. Say, look at the ICP that I already created for, I mean, you just have to look at it, right? Because
well,
it'll
this is
allow,
already referencing it's like
oh, it
which one do
is.
you want to use?
I see.
So this is more about like what you were saying earlier about like it's Q4, like it wants the information from you about what we're trying to do now.
Yep.
So let's just come up with like a campaign or whatever what we
Let's
want to do.
do a holiday campaign because that's coming up, right?
Yeah. So I want to run a holiday campaign. One thing we should say is the date. So oftentimes it's not familiar with the date. Holiday campaign. It is currently September
Uh,
4th, 2025. Do we want to do like a Christmas or just holiday?
sure.
I want to do a Christmas. Are we promoting product?
Let's ask it what if we should focus on
Sure.
because they have retail and brand, right?
Uh,
Say, should we focus on retail or brand? A lot of times I find, it's you have conversations and if you give the LLM the opportunity to give you its own opinion, sometimes it's completely out to lunch. But frequently it will actually come up with some ideas or concepts that you didn't have. And you really want to think of the agent as like either an employee or a colleague that you're working with that you can brainstorm with. And it can produce really great results.
all right. Well, on that note, I shall tell it to come up with everything for us then. We'll just give it the information that we're doing a Christmas campaign and let it do its thing.
And then while this is running, another thing that I've learned is You actually want to spend the majority of your time when you're building things on the planning phase, like the majority, maybe even 80% of the time that you're going to allot to work on a project on the planning phase, because all of these back and forths that we're having right now are building this context for the LLM. And and the more information that it has, stored in its brain about what you're trying to do, when you get to the point, which we are going to get to the point where we're going to build a landing page, we're going to come up with the strategies for activations for media, but what you don't want to do is just come right out of the gate and say like, make a landing page for me for this brand. You want to have a dialogue so that you can prime the brain of the LLM. You'll get much, much better results if you do that.
Yep. Context is key in all of this. So let's see, what did it start?
It
Oh, it's
went full Santa.
huh?
Oh, it's still thinking about it. All right.
Yeah, yeah,
But it looks like it decided to go Santa mode.
yeah. Yeah, so I agree. Context is really key, and really having the files there to be able to save to for anything you want to save is like key. And so I can even show like some things we would want to do. We can do after this is create the tone, and we can have a file that we can always reference for the tone. So, um, one thing that will happen within these is you'll see like once you get too much dialogue, Claude has to compact it, and so it it tends to not reference some of that older information well. So just saving even conversations or any type of information that you think is worth saving, just save it right away to a file. And that'll always be helpful to be able to reference. I should actually do that too. I wonder if this will show us. Cool. So yeah, another thing you can do within the creating files is you can reference them. So if we did have tone or whatever, I mean, let's just say we're going to reference the ICP. Cloud Code has this thing where if you type in the ampersand, or not the ampersand, sorry, just the at symbol, you can reference a document here. So if I started typing Steezy ICP, I could easily just reference that now. Um, so that's a cool little Cloud Code thing. I think Google's doing it now, or OpenAI. All right, but it looks like it created our campaign. So let's come here. It's given us the campaign duration. So we'll be running it from October to December. It's got a 150,000 a month budget. So obviously, if that's not your budget, what you can do here is say, hey, my budget is, 10,000, 15,000 a month, whatever it may be. Once you have the starting point, it's really easy to kind of modify what you want. So executive summary is saying we're retail focused, holiday campaign, leveraging their number one market position. Um, let's see. We're emphasizing gift giving, stress relief, and premium bundles. Primary goal, driving 25% increase in Q4. I'm going for 15,000 new customers. We've
And so
got,
it's made a bunch of assumptions here because we did not give it any input on budget or goals. And so it's going to take its best guess, which it is, in both directions, sometimes incredibly on point, and then also, as I said earlier, some can be somewhat out to lunch. And I think a lot of people get turned off by mediocre or bad responses from AI LLMs. But really, the trick is just to keep going, right? Because you just need to operate on the assumption that like 50% of the time it's going to give you something back that is not what you want to some varying degree. And you just need to have a dialogue. You just need to keep going, right? So, and the more that you fine tune your conversation, the better the results will be.
Mhm. I agree. So now let's actually focus a little bit and have it give us something. Because I think one thing I want to do is actually like, especially for cannabis companies, I think the offering that you provide, programmatic, is like a really key way to advertise with all the restrictions. And so maybe we actually focus this down a little bit on actually running just like a programmatic campaign. Because what I want to do is like actually show how we can have a creative, and I'm not seeing a lot of like the
Yeah.
messaging and stuff in here. So let
Don't
me,
blame your LLM.
huh?
So don't blame your LLM. Give
It's
it
all
more
me,
context.
doesn't
Yeah.
it? It's all right. Gave me a starting point. Okay, so what I want to do is run a programmatic campaign. Um, I want to focus on um, uh, not video, just straight digital, static assets, static ads. Um,
Yeah, you could ask for like targeting suggestions and also, and you've got something that'll do images, right? So the other thing that I do a lot is I ask the LLM to create a prompt for me for another system, right? So in this case, you've got yeah, campaign messaging, and then say, with and give me a prompt I can use to generate the creatives. Oh, or do that.
My bad. I'll do that next. I'm gonna do
Yeah.
that within ChatGPT. I'll just go over there because that'll give
Yeah.
it context to actually be able to create the image. So one thing Claude Code can do, at least I'm not aware of, is it can't create images.
It
So
doesn't do images, yeah.
yeah, we'll go to those other ones and then I'll make sure those actually have the context to create.
Have you
Um,
played with Nano Banana yet?
I did, yeah. So I was actually gonna go on there if we wanted.
Yeah.
Might be fun. I don't know. Do
It
you
is,
have
I think
like a
it seems to be the best. So maybe we'll try seeing if Nano Banana can create some creatives.
yeah. Yeah, I think we could test that out for sure. Yeah, the cool thing about that one is like you can have like your product assets and then give it to it and
Oh
it
yeah.
actually like put it in display.
Let's
So it's pretty powerful.
let's try that. This is okay, so now we're trying something. I actually haven't tried doing it yet, but Steezy's got plenty of product images, so we can grab one.
Perfect.
Yeah, we can make a Santa ad, and then we can put like what kind of character should we create for like holding the product?
Shoot
Let's
me out
let's
the
let
idea.
we'll let Claude guide us. All right.
Yeah. All right, let's see. What is it telling us here? It did quite a bit, huh? All right, so Stizzy. Oops.
So one of the other things you'll see here, one of the things you have with LLMs is that they can kick out a lot of content, which sometimes can be too much. However, if you have the sort of time and bandwidth, what they've given you here is a great set of A/B tests for the CTA, right? So you can make a basic ad unit and you can create 5 variations of it. You can run those variations with different ad copy and see which one performs best. And it does it nearly instantly for you.
All right, what do we want to work from? We can either start with one of these.
What was the first one it suggested? Let's see.
It's got like these GIF focus. It's kind of more just deals, but then we get a little more specific down here on the actual copy. I don't know. What do you think? You want to work
Let's
from
go with
one?
new customers prospecting. Everybody wants new customers.
Yeah,
So, and it picked a pretty good, key messaging point, discover why we're number one
right.
with a decent discount. And then, yeah, start shopping. That's pretty straightforward.
Perfect. So I'm gonna come back over here. So we'll start with OpenAI and then we can, do we have enough time to do both?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start here and just, I want this to also have information on what we're doing. So I am going to start. There's no visual that we've done on anything yet. So I am going to actually tell this to go to Steezy websites too, just to look at their brand.
Are you gonna paste in the stuff from your other chat in here?
I will also do that, but I'll start by telling it to go to the website and do some research. I am building a campaign for that. Start there, and then I will give you more information
You
on
should indicate it's a holiday marketing campaign.
it is a holiday marketing campaign for programmatic advertising. Okay. And then let's see. I don't want to overwhelm it. So maybe we'll start with, did we choose the ICP that we're working with?
Just choose the first one I gave, the primary ICP.
Okay.
So just copy and paste The first section, yeah. The other thing you'll notice that we're doing is switching back and forth. So when you're working with LLMs, if you just have a single conversation, it can eat up a lot of time because you have to ask a question, you have to wait for it to generate things. And so as you get more comfortable with the tools, you'll find yourselves having two, three, four, five sessions, all doing slightly different things. So you can ask a question over here, then you can go like in Claude, then you can go over to ChatGPT, which is where we're actually going to generate images. You can give the information. So now, yeah, we're transferring this over.
We should probably give it info from here as well.
And you can paste a fair amount of text in these
Yeah,
things. They do have,
sure.
the context windows are usually over 100,000 what's called tokens,
Just
which you
start
can roughly think of
here.
as words. Um, so you can drop a fair amount of information into these, including large CSVs. Something we may not have time to get into is, if you're running Google Ads, for example, you can export your like as a CSV, like your whole Google ad campaign, and you can just drop that whole thing into ChatGPT or Claude and say, analyze my campaign and tell me how I should optimize it. And it will do a shockingly good job of coming back and telling you, these keywords are getting you good performance, these ones are not, these regions are working better than others.
All right, did we copy this yet? We'll just use that and then we'll go. Yeah, totally. How many tools do you use at once?
Oh, a lot.
Probably got like 15 terminals open.
Yeah, I've got a combination of multiple terminals and then tabs inside of the terminals, depending on what's happening.
All right, so this is creating, it's really just getting the context again. Now I'm going to say, will you please create a prompt for creating an ad? Should we say 320 by 250?
Sure.
By 250.
And this is something that I mentioned earlier. This is a very powerful way to use LLMs, especially if you're not sure what you should ask it for. You can just ask it what you should ask it for, and it will give you that guidance. Uh,
Right.
and it will also explain anything. You ask it a question, it comes back with a bunch of stuff, and there's some acronyms that you don't understand. Just just keep asking. So you said this, what does that mean? You suggested this. Why did you suggest that? And then another good thing to do is ask it to argue with itself, right? It gives you some recommendation. You say, okay, well, that's great, but why would I not want to do that?
Right. Yeah, that's always a good question. Because, yeah, it'll give you an answer, but there's often times where you just don't know what you don't know. And so asking it essentially that question will give you that information.
It
Uh,
also answers questions almost all the time with supreme confidence,
yeah,
right? Where
exactly.
it's like, oh, this is absolutely what you should do. And then you ask it a question, you're like, wait, why? It's like, oh, you're right. That's totally wrong. I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, it's so reassuring and confident that, sometimes it's just like, let me ask a few more questions before I take that for the truth. So yeah, you're totally right. Just keep working with
Why don't
it.
you, while this is doing its thing,
Go
why
to
don't you
the
fix that same prompt over and
yeah.
nano banana?
For Nano, I'm gonna tell it to go to the website first too,
Okay.
just so it can look at the
And this is Nano Banana came out last week, I think. It's a new tool from Google, which it seems to be the leading tool for creating visuals. Um, so any kind of image, but it's also an image editing tool. So you can have an image and you can tell it to do things that you can think of it like it's nearly the same as having a Photoshop expert and saying, okay, I want this picture, I want my product in it this way. It can slice and dice
Mm.
objects in and out. It can swap out art styles. It can keep consistent um, art. Um, throughout multiple iterations, which has always been a problem with AI images. You're like, it makes you something that's almost what you want. You tell it to change one little thing and it comes back with something totally different. So,
Right. Yeah, this one gives you like consistency. You know, you can have the same model, you put your products in there. Like it's really good at recreating the same types of things. So apparently, Banana does not have web search access.
no, you're just going to
So
have to
I'm
give it the
going
context.
to, huh?
You'll just have to give it the context.
Yeah, I'm gonna make Claude tell me what the brand is. Will you create a brand, a short brand
Well, why don't you
guide?
try doing this?
Huh?
Why don't you say, I want need to create an ad unit in a image generation tool. Give me all the information that it will need to generate something relevant.
And add unit image generation
I'm over
tool.
here. This is called backseat vibe coding
It's all good.
or vibe marketing.
This is fun though. I mean, the possibilities are endless, to be
There's
honest.
some, there's a couple really talented people on YouTube that you can check out that I'll mention while Justin is typing. The Boring Marketer on YouTube is very good. Greg Eisenberg is another person who has a lot of great content. Riley Brown is another one. These are all people that were, they're all non-technical. None of these people were engineers. Um, some of them come from marketing backgrounds, some of them don't come from marketing backgrounds, but they have a lot of, great videos showing specific use cases on how to do things like either build automations or build up marketing strategies, generate, amazing visuals.
Yeah, yeah. The boring marketer, he's really good. I've also seen Riley Brown. He has some good live demos with people, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it was amazing to see. Like they really opened my eyes to Claude Code. You know, they are not coders, and just seeing what they can build was fascinating. Um, okay, cool. So let me see headline, subline, body copy, CTA, brand elements. They're probably not going to have the logo, but I guess
Well, you can drop the creative that ChatGPT just made for you. You
yeah,
that like okay, so let's talk about this for a second.
yeah,
This image was created and like just generated entirely on the fly based on the short amount of information that we gave. Now, is this the most amazing creative in the world? No, but it's pretty good. Like this is an ad unit that would be fine. I mean, there's some little visual artifacts there, it looks
yeah,
like.
and it's a little dark as well. But you know, the general idea here was just to show with limited information what you can do, and I think even just using this as inspiration, but I really think that, you know, this was honestly the old approach for me was really just getting inspiration from it because it was really hard to like make the perfect ad. So originally this was just for inspiration, but the with what Banana has come out with, like I actually think you can make true ads on there now. It probably would be a little bit harder with GPT-5. I'm sure with like a bunch of prompting, you could actually end up with something you wanted, but you know, I don't know if these are going to be the actual products like you could do with Banana. Um, so yeah,
Let's try it, see what
let's jump
happens.
over there. I wonder if I can download their logo and just give it to it.
Yeah, let me here. Um,
We don't need that. Hmm. We do want the color palette. I'm just going to start with what we had there
okay.
and then also the color palette.
Oh, you know what you can do? Just take
Oh,
a screenshot, like scroll to a little bit down on their webpage where there's a picture of some. So here, go to the Steezy website.
uh-huh.
We got three eyes. There you go.
Okay, got it.
All right, now scroll. Oh, first go through the age gate. Scroll down. Oh, we lost the logo.
I mean, can I use that?
Well, just do a couple screenshots. Like,
You can just download this, right?
that's just a logo, but it'll work better, I think, if you here cancel
Yeah.
that, close that, do Shift Command 4, and then just drag over the whole website. Like,
Oh,
Like just grab a screen and then you'll be able to drop it in. Yeah, do that. And then do you scroll down a little bit? Let's give it two, like to that, so it can see some products. And then grab another one. Yeah.
it's
That's the other
tricky.
thing to understand. We haven't really talked about that is you can take any image and just drop it in. I do this all the time. I probably take 1,000 screenshots a day of, just grabbing like this is what I'm seeing. And it works shockingly well. If you can give it a snapshot of like the reality you're looking at, it can do all kinds of things. It can extract, it can read all the text on the page. It can extract, in this case, the products that are there. And it gives it visual understanding. So one thing to understand about the way that LLMs work or image generation tools is it creates like mathematical approximations of the concepts of the image, for example, or the words. And so, yeah, it's a little complex to get into, but the general thing I'm trying to convey is that what you are visually seeing when you give it images, it can interpret it very similar to the way that a person would.
Just you can't go below it. What do you think? Should I have it just generate it,
Yeah,
or
see what it does.
do we want to talk to it first? Just go
Well,
for it.
you already have a second. That's like this is your second prompt, right?
Fair enough. Let's see what happens. And everybody is getting to see us try this out really for the first time. I tried
Yeah,
it
I haven't used
before.
I haven't used Nano Banana before. I mean, I made like one image.
Yeah, I mean it's freaking brand new, so
Okay, so it made that.
interesting.
I forgot one of the eyes. That's all right. Okay, so now let's give it some feedback. And this is again, usually the first thing you get back is going to be somewhat underwhelming. Um, and you did tell it to make it all black and gold in your instructions,
There was some color palette. Yeah,
right? But it's just black and gold and white and gray. So let's
essentially.
ask it for a more colorful holiday concept that is eye-catching. And you can misspell things and skip words. It really doesn't
Yeah.
matter that much as long
How's
as it's
it
the
going?
general message.
Uh, all right.
Okay, so after we get this couple sets of images, I do want to go through showing people how like how easy it is to build a landing
Yeah,
page.
exactly.
All right, that's slightly more colorful. Um, let's see here.
Um,
Uh,
I mean, I think the reality, to be totally honest, I don't know if this is their actual product, but I think if I were actually doing this, I think the goal right now, we should just say, hey, like demonstration of tools, inspiration. But if I were actually doing this, I think we would have their actual products and tell it to build something from there.
let's do something fun though. Let's say just before we move
Yeah,
on,
sure.
the
Let's
next
do
two
it.
minutes, let's try to have it give something wild. Like so. Um, Tell it to use one of the products from the earlier screenshot and have I don't know, like a young hip person having fun holding the product. Just I want to see what it'll come up with. Well, not too young. Put in like millennial.
Good call.
That was in the ICP.
I
Um,
like that you can't just hit enter on there. All right. While that is going, we should here, let me actually have Claude do a compact campaign now. Or we already did, didn't we? Let's say, okay, now please give me instructions to build a landing. Actually,
no, to have it make the
oh,
landing
Lovable
page.
was the same thing. I went to their website and just gave it a brief information about the campaign, and it
Why don't
worked.
you just do this with Cloud Code? Say, build a landing page for me. It won't do the images. It won't have images, but that's okay. We can take that landing page and then we can put images into it. So Yeah, just say build a
Well,
landing
let's
page.
just do it on Lovable, no?
Oh yeah, okay, sure.
I mean, that one can actually go to the internet. So go to Steezy's site. I want to build a landing page for a campaign. Um, here, let's actually have to do the research first, and then we'll.
Just give it the because we don't have a ton of time. I was gonna say copy and paste the ICP and stuff.
Okay, I'll just
Yeah,
do it.
this
And the campaign we are for one. I see. All right, let's make it short and sweet. It was doing really long stuff, so
perfect.
that type of information will be good. Building language claim. Here's the campaign. Boom. All right, now get to work. All right, let's see what this did. So looking at what is not the product.
I think it is a product. I just don't
Is
think it's
it?
the scale.
Oh, it's right here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you're
right there.
right. I have
Yeah.
not seen that.
While Lovable's doing its thing, maybe make it more interesting. Like let's put him on like on the ski slope, and then we can go see what Lovable's doing while that thing's generating.
Hmm.
Oh, it's still building.
All right, so yeah, Lovable. The reason I'm using this one, it's a really simple tool for those of you that have not used it, but this one has the visualization. So it's essentially an LLM, but it actually has like what the site will look like. So it runs it here. So that's why we're using Lovable. It's
That
doing
is, it's
right.
a great landing page. Oh, you got to approve.
There we go. Like there's got to be something,
I haven't actually used Lovable in a little while. They've changed the UI.
really. Yeah, I generally don't use Lovable, but for those that are probably a little bit foreign to coding, it's a little bit easier to use just because you have the visual right there to work
I
with.
know our team for like paid search campaigns uses Lovable to generate really nice looking, landing pages because those things are like, they're just interstitial user experience in between. All right, so there he is. Now, yeah, he's on a ski slope.
And then, I mean, we can just say,
Add a Yeti to this scene
Yeti.
wearing a Santa hat. This is where it gets fun.
Yeah, these images are great. Any thought that comes to your head is easily created now. All right, this thing's still going. Right? Yeah, editing. Okay. Uh, let's see.
It's also the middle of the day. The models are sometimes a little slower during the middle of the day because there's traffic. All right, it's going.
Yeah, especially these visual creation ones are definitely slower than typical LLMs. All right, there he is.
There he is. See? So you can just start adding things as you want to these images. You could probably, I think it's pretty good at showing. Is it pretty good at showing text? Like
Global
how do you call it? Yeah.
headline and sale.
Also, I don't like you can't really see the product. So change his jacket to yellow.
See if we can do it all.
All right. How's Lovable doing over there?
Oh,
There. Oh, well,
cool.
Do try to fix though, because it will fix whatever. It just that yeah. It's got a the page
Type
itself has got
first.
an error. So if you click try to fix, it'll fix it.
It's probably just the text and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just take a look at it. I mean, at the very least, inspiration, right? I had to set up a landing page if you're not going to use this. But I mean, I think taking it from here also is not that hard to just keep prompting it and get what you want the same way we were editing that image. So,
Yeah, scroll down. How far, what does it have? What did
image,
it make for us here?
premium gift sets, holiday offers, all starter kits, free gift wrapping.
Yeah, so it did a pretty good job. There's a lot of things if you have more time. I mean, and you do need to allocate some time. Like you would probably want to spend an hour working with this, going back and forth, saying, make the background this color, move the elements around here. You've got, this particular fact is wrong. Like it might be whatever said something like 2 million sold. It'll make things up, right? So but it does give you the outline, and it allows you to generate things very, very quickly that in the past would have taken you a long time, even just communicating with, if you're not doing it yourself, either someone on your staff or a freelancer. The cycle goes from days to minutes or hours. Um, oh yeah, look at it. There it is.
Yeah, it's fun. Did the jacket and everything. But yeah, like you're saying, I think really just
Changes,
wanted to
changes.
kind of touch on all of these, but with proper context, proper time, like any of this can get like so much better. And at the very least, I think what people should understand, like concepting, like creating like first drafts of things like AI is so great at, and just really wanted to show these like really the latest tools that are coming out that seem to be pretty amazing. So hopefully at the very least people take that as inspiration, and as you can see we were just like roughly working through stuff, but if somebody actually spends time to figure out their own process to make this stuff actually so it's consistent, it understands your brand. Like there's a lot you can do here to give it the proper context to get what you want. And I think if we had started with a lot of that, like these first drafts would have been a lot better, right? Like if you have any further thought than what we did, like these starting points could have been a heck of a lot better. And then it's just refining from there, and or, using some of the same tools that you've used in the past. Like, we could have done something here where we just got if we wanted to just have these two guys, like we can remove background and drop it into Canva or do something like that. Or, try to get all the way by using this Google AI Studio, which has a lot of the editing capabilities in it. So I think it's just finding the right balance for each person of like, what do I want to use this for? At the very least, I think ideating, concepting, getting stuff quickly is, a minimum of what people should be doing, but really diving in, understanding how to work with it a lot more is really what takes the time, practice, and expertise, but you can really end up with amazing, I think, products in the end if you do that. Um,
And it allows you to iterate more quickly. I mean, if you think about working with a creative agency, traditionally you'd say, okay, you're gonna pay X dollars and you're gonna get, five variations, and then you get two edits or revisions on two of those. You basically have unlimited revisions, and unlimited concepts, which makes it much less expensive to run variations on your ad campaigns, right? So instead of running two creatives, because that's all that you could afford, now you can run 20 and you can change them, every 2 weeks. And you can do that cycle on your own time. And it enables marketing in a way that wasn't possible before, because it just wouldn't have, especially if you're not spending that much money. Maybe you don't have that large of a marketing budget. If you have a $10,000 campaign you want to run, you don't want to spend $5,000 of it on creative design. Now, you do want to get the creative right, because that is key. And the other comment I'll make is these tools are not necessarily mutually exclusive, right? So a lot of people are doing now, either let's say they're building a more complicated landing page or something, and they can get it pretty close using something like Lovable or Windsurf. You can still work with an expert to go the last mile. And on the creative side, you could do the same thing, which is you could go in one of these AI tools, experiment around with some different visuals and get it close to what you want, and then deliver that to a designer and say, okay, this is what I want. But I want you to clean it up, make it in all the right sizes, and make the text, exactly the way I want it. But again, that still cuts down the cycles for you as a marketer.
Yep, totally. Yeah, that was what I was hoping to get across here was really just diving in, showing tools are not complicated and, without really any starting point, like how quick we can get something. While not great, I think like I said, with the right context, it can be great. And yeah, I mean, for anybody that's just starting out, I would say get Claude Code. I think they have a $20 a month plan, and you can do a whole lot with that. Um, so yeah, that's my advice is just start there, start playing with it, creating your files that you want to reference all the time. And then, over time you can build out just a lot of systems and processes within Claude Code that will make things easier. The first time working with any of this will be challenging and difficult and a learning process, but hopefully what people saw is that it's really not too hard, it's just working with it, speaking English and having it do most of the work. So, um,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I don't even think it really needs to be that challenging or difficult. I think a lot of people it's the getting started part that is,
Yeah,
people just don't start using it because they don't know what to do.
right.
And my advice on that would be ask the AI what to do, right?
Yeah.
So like you're like, I want to do marketing. Like you could start with very simple, like I have a brand, I have no marketing department, and I need a marketing strategy for my company. This is what we do. And how can you help me develop that plan and give me a plan of things that I should be doing? Then you can take, and it'll give you, here's all the things that you should do. It'll ask you questions, and then you can say, well, give me the action plan. And then when it comes to producing output, you can also ask it to write the prompts for you. I do that frequently, which is here's what I'm going to have an AI agent do for me. Write a detailed prompt that will, increase my chance of, success or getting the output that I want.
Yep.
So,
Totally. And one of the other big things that I tend to do is, in those brainstorming sessions, I'll oftentimes like either create a file for it to reference or just do it within the chat, but I'll be like, hey, like, first talk about who the perfect person is to talk about X, right? And like this is what I want to talk about. And then what it does is it creates the perfect person to talk to you about that. And now you're talking to an expert in the field. So um one of the tricks that I use quite frequently to like actually get really good information, and it actually tends to be a little bit less like agreeable in situations like that because it's like it knows who it is and it can actually tell you where you're going wrong up front. So,
and just to get, I'll give you a concrete detail of what he's talking about. So and this goes back to setting the context, right? So the better the context is that you've developed inside of the conversation that you're having, the better the results are, right? So there's an example would be starting the conversation off and saying, you are a digital marketing expert that knows how to, create and execute, award-winning activations. When you start the conversation that way, it starts to narrow the context down because the LM can talk to you about anything. You could be talking about plumbing, right? So the more that you can define the context that you're having the conversation about, the better it's able to use more of its brain power in a more focused way, effectively. Um,
mhm.
and that's you've seen some new, like you said, context is king. There was, I think everyone's heard of prompt engineering, like, oh, it's all, and that was a big thing for the last year or so. And if you look in the last few weeks, a lot of what people are talking about is context engineering. How can you lay the table correctly to, create the dish that you want to?
Yep. Yeah, totally. And that's when you spend a couple years like me diving into all this stuff. You can start figuring all that type of stuff out. But for anybody that's new, messages, just get started. There's so many tools out there, but I actually believe that the few that we went over, you can do a whole lot with, starting with Claude Code. Um, but yeah, I think, your whole marketing department can change with just those few tools. So I think the message is stop looking at everything else. I think you can see that there's a lot of power in these few and just get started. Like that is generally the hardest thing. So
Yeah. Well, thanks for your time, Justin. Oh, what if people want to get a hold of you? How do people get a hold of you and automate?
Yeah, so actually changing brands, working through kind of everything, but it's actually I got an AI guy is my new website brand that I'm running with. So anybody that wants to find me can go there.
I
Yeah,
got an AI guy.
I got an AI guy. Yeah, so
That's fun.
yeah. Yeah, the automate was a little hard to spell, and I think just I was a little bit naive when I was kind of starting out. But yeah, so I've kind of rebranded and kind of new focus on what I'm doing. So I got an AI guys where I can be found. But ultimately, hopefully, what comes from this is people are reaching out to you guys with new ad campaigns and getting ready to run. I think that's really what I was trying to intend to kind of portray here is that anybody that, wants to run programmatic campaigns in the, restricted space that you can get this stuff set up pretty quickly and I think you'd be able to help them from there. So
Well, I appreciate the plug there. Our goal is really generally on these is just to like give people information. Um, but anyway, thank you so much for your time. And everyone else, you too can have a I got an AI guy. Thanks,
right on,
Justin.
man. Well, appreciate it. It was good talking
Take
to
your
you.
time.
All righty.
Bye.
See ya.